Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Morning, everybody. Good morning, my dear student. Today we meet again in the subject of Indonesian history in the time of Islam or Islamic period in the Indonesian history. This is the second meeting. Because of that, I would like to lecture you in English. Last week, I have introduced you about how the period and also the scope of Islamic history in Indonesia. And today, I would like to share you about how Islam as the new religion in Indonesia entering and then spreading in Nusantara or Indonesian archipelago. Because of that, allow me to make the share screen. So sorry. Okay, it is clear for you. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Let's see about the keyword that if we want to understand about the Islam in Indonesia, the development or the history of Islam in Indonesia, especially in the early period, the keyword is complexity. Why the complexity? I think it is meaning that unclear about how Islam spreading, entering to the Indonesian community from Aceh in the west to the Papua in the east, because one of the factor, there's the rarity of the historical sources. Historical sources, particularly document, it is very important for the historical study. But in the time of Islamic period, especially in the early period, the historical sources is very rarely. There's the what is difficult to find out about the historical sources. There is just what is a lot of historical sources related to the how Islam spreading and entering and spreading in Indonesian archipelago. The historical sources in the time of Islamic period consisted of what we call in the Malay language or Indonesian language, hikayat. Hikayat is the story or maybe storytelling. Babad is Javanese language, mean from the darkness to be clearness, to make something clearly. I think it is the babad. And then also the syair, Carita in Sundanese language. Carita is, I think, also story. So, but these historical sources in traditional manner is still rare. For example, in Hikayat Raja-Raja Paseh, in Samudra Paseh, it is historical, traditional historical sources for the Samudra Paseh kingdom. There's mention about the king of the Samudra Paseh called as the Marasilu, and then when he became the Muslim, his name became the Sultan Malik al-Saleh. Also, sejarah Melayu, Malay Annals. It is the historical sources for the Malacca Sultanate, and the first king of the Malacca Sultanate, Parameswara, and then when he became the Muslim, his name also changed, become the Muhammad Shah. And we also can see about the Syair Awang Semaun in Brunei Darussalam, and in Syair Awang Semaun tell us that they are the first king of Brunei Darussalam Sultanate, named Awang Alak Batatar, and when he became the Muslim, his name also changed to be Sultan Muhammad Shah. So I think not all Islamic kingdom have the historical sources. Because of that, the complexity to understand how Islam developed in Indonesian archipelago, I think it is very, very difficult comparing with the modern period. Okay, what is important here, although they ask the rarely of the historical sources, but from three historical sources, Hikayat Raja-Raja Pasai, Sejarah Melayu, Syair Awang Semaun, we can see about the similar pattern. Firstly, when the new ruler or new king became Muslim, he will change his name from local name to Islamic name. In this case, let's we see about the Samudra Pasai ruler, Samudra Pasai king. His local name is Marah Silu. Marah is the local name in Sumatra. Marah Silu, Marah Rusli, Marah Karma, you know. So it is the local name in Sumatra. And when he became the Muslim, his name changed to Sultan Malik al-Saleh. Sultan is Islamic title. Malik is the king. Saleh is good man, good heart, you know. So I think it is what is changing from the local name to the Islamic name, including also the king of Sultanate of Malacca Sultanate from Parameswara. I think it's the Sanskrit name or Hindu name to the Sultan Muhammad Shah. I think it is interesting to know here that Sultan Muhammad Shah, Sultan is the title in Islamic kingdom, Muhammad is the Islamic name, and Shah is Persian name because what is Islam in Indonesia not only comes from Arab directly, but also many theories say comes also from Persia. So it is the combined title between the Islamic name from Arab culture and Islamic name from Persian culture, Shah. Okay, including also Syair Awang Semaun from Brunei Darussalam. The local name is the Awang Alak Betatar. Awang is the commonly named in Brunei until now. If you now with the if you have a friend from Brunei Darussalam, many of them their name is Awang. My colleague in University Brunei Darussalam, his name also Haji Awang Asbol bin Haji Ma'il. There are many Awang's name in Brunei Darussalam because the first king in Brunei Darussalam, local name Awang Alak Betatar, and when he became a Muslim, his name also was changed, became Sultan Muhammad Shah. It is also combined name between the Islamic name in Arabic culture and Islamic name in Persian culture. Okay, so complexity here also should be interpreted that Islam not only what is still debatable, particularly in the problem of when was Islam entering to the Indonesian archipelago, who the propagator or who as the what is a preacher of Islam in Indonesia, and also including also Islam comes from Indonesia, whether from India, from Arab, from Persia, from Egypt, including also from China. I think it is still debatable between the historian and Islamic scholars. One of the factors, as I have mentioned earlier, because the Islamic sources related to the entering and development of Islam in Indonesian archipelago is still rarely. Okay, I think it is about the what is Islam in the Islamic period. The critical problem also in the time of early period history of Islam in Indonesia, I think we identify why the ruler in Indonesia interested in to the Islam as the new religion. So maybe all of us become Muslim based on our parent, okay? Because my parent is Muslim, so we also become Muslim. But let's imagine how the early ruler or the kings in Indonesia in the early period became Muslim. I think it is very interesting to analyze this, to interpret, and according to many Islamic scholars and historians, there's many factors why the kings in Indonesia, including also in Southeast Asian countries, finally became Muslim. Firstly is the political factors. Secondly, maybe it is about the economic benefit. Let me see about the political factor. As we know that religion, not only about the Islam, but also others, always become the legitimized for the ruler, for the kings. In this context, according to some historians, the king in Indonesia and Southeast Asia, see, Islam also can give legitimize for the king. As we know also, before the what is establishing the Islamic kingdom, there's many kingdom in Indonesia, which religion is Hindu and Buddha. So because of that, maybe it is become the critical problem why the king in which previously their religion is Hindu and Buddha, finally they became the Muslim. Because in this context, the teaching or the values in the Hindu and Buddha religion also in accordance with the Islamic teaching or Islamic values. Some historians, for example, mention about the concept of Dewa Raja. Dewa Raja means that king as the representative of God, as king as the reincarnation of the God in Hindu religion, of course. But in Islam also, there's the concept, the key concept, in which relevant with the concept of Dewa Raja in Hindu religion, what we call as the concept of Halifatullah fil Ardi. What does it mean? Halifatullah fil Ardi, it is also mean that human mankind, including also the king, as the representative of God in the earth, in the world. So I think there's the similarity or the similar concept between the Dewa Raja in one hand and Dewa Raja in Hindu religion concept and the Halifatullah fil Ardi in Islamic concept. And this is can give legitimize for the kings, including Islamic kings in Indonesian archipelago. Secondly, in the Buddha religion, there's also the teaching or value, what we call as the bodhisattva. What does it mean? Bodhisattva is the picture of Siddhartha Gautama as the prophet of Buddha religion, as the perfect man, as the Superman, as the strong man. So bodhisattva is the representative of perfect man. In this context, referred to the Siddhartha Gautama as the prophet in Buddha religion. And as the perfect man, of course, someone will have the what we call as the superpower. What is the power not only in the normal situation, but it is the superpower beyond in the normal situation. In this context, in Islamic teaching or Islamic values, there's also the concept what we call as the insan al-kamil. It is also the perfect man or the superman, and referred to the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, peace be upon him, as the perfect man in Islamic religion. So I think between Bodhisattva and Insan al-Kamil concept, it is the similar. Even Insan al-Kamil is maybe a good concept and clear for the kings in Southeast Asia. And until now, I think Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam become the role model, not only for the king or political elite, social elite, but also from the ordinary people, Islamic Ummah until now. Okay, so Islam as the new religion not radically change the political situation or the social structure in that time, in this period. So Islam legitimize in politics for the new king. Because of that, kings in Indonesian archipelago, including in Southeast Asian countries, finally became the Muslim because Islam give benefit in politics, in social position, social structure for the king in Islamic Sultanate, in Islamic kingdom. Okay, and secondly, there's also benefit in economy because as we know that if we read about the Anthony Reid books, 13th century until 18th century, that's called in Southeast Asian countries as the Kurun Niaga, the age of commerce, the age of economic activity in that time. So if the kingdom or the king became the Muslim, it is very benefit for his kingdom and his administration, because from Middle East, South India until Southeast Asia dominated by Muslim trader. Because of that, economically, the king became the Muslim. It is also very benefit for him and for his administration, for his kingdom. So I think it is two factors why the ruler or the king in Indonesian archipelago in 13th century, maybe 12th century, finally became Muslim. Okay, and as I have mentioned earlier in the first meeting, that process of Islamization in Indonesian archipelago, of course, there's many different in a method, in also way of Islamization. So in this context, I think it is important to note here about the Islamization pattern. According to Professor Dr. Taufik Abdullah, in his book, Islam and Society, Reflection of Islamic History in Indonesia, Professor Dr. Taufik Abdullah said there's the three patterns in Islamizing in Indonesia. Firstly, what he called as the bottom-up pattern. In this context, Professor Taufik Abdullah referred to the Javanese kingdom. In this context is Mataram Sultanate. in Central Java. Secondly is the top-down model or top-down pattern. It is referred to the South Sulawesi region, particularly in the Makassar Sultanate. And thirdly is the mixed model or mixed pattern, in which the good example is the Aceh Sultanate in Sumatra. Let me see briefly about how about the patterns of bottom-up, the top-down, and the mix. Firstly, about the bottom-up pattern or bottom-up model. According to Prof. Taufik Abdullah, bottom-up pattern meaning that firstly, a grassroots level or ordinary people, particularly in the North Coastal Java, became Muslim. So they are establishing the Islamic community in many ports in the North Coastal Java, for example, Banten, Cirebon, Demak, Tuban, Surabaya, and so on and so on and so forth. And this is categorized as the grassroots level or the Islamic Ummah from ordinary people. And because the king see that Islamic Ummah or the ordinary people become Muslim, and finally the king ourselves in this context is Mataram kingdom, the king of Mataram kingdom finally also become Muslim. So bottom-up model, meaning that process of Islamization comes from grassroots level toward the upper class level. So from below to the up, I think it is the process of Islamization, which the bottom-up pattern or bottom-up model, and it is maybe relevant to analysis or to understanding about the Javanese kingdom in this context is Mataram Sultanate. Secondly is top-down. What does it mean? Top-down meaning that the first Muslim is the king ourselves or a social elite become the Muslim king, and the nobleman in that kingdom become the Muslim, and slowly but surely Muslim this religion followed by the ordinary people. So different with the bottom-up model, top-down model, meaning that process of Islamization comes from the upper class and then tune down to the grassroots level. I think it is, maybe we can analyze it in the South Sulawesi region context, and particularly in the Makassar Sultanate. And thirdly is about the mixed model or mixed pattern. It is meaning that between upper class and grassroots level become Muslim is together in the same time. So according to many historians, the case of Aceh Sultanate between the king and his people become Muslim in the same time. So I think it is the explanation or interpretation about the three models or three patterns in process of Islamization in Indonesia: the bottom-up model, the top-down model, and the mixed model. Of course, this different pattern or model in process of Islamization in Indonesia, it is also implicated to the characteristic or dynamic of Islamic development in each religion. As you know that maybe Islam in Java different in style with Islam in Sumatra, and also different style also with the Islam in Sulawesi, in Kalimantan, in others, and so on and so forth. So maybe it is interesting for you to discuss or to present your concern about how Islam develop or entering and developing in each region in Indonesia. Maybe we want to know about how Islam entering and developing in Kalimantan, in Maluku, in Bali, in Papua, and so on. Okay, I think it is about the brief lecturing how Islam in the early period entering and developing in Indonesian archipelago. I have lectured you in 25 minutes before I'm ending this lecturing. Maybe any question or any comment from my student, the representative from male student and female student. Please, if you want to ask to me or comment about how Islam in the early period entering and developing in Indonesian archipelago. Any question or any comment from representative of male student or female student? You can ask me in the Bahasa Indonesia, in English, or in other language. Okay? Male student, representative? Or female student, representative? Did you understand?
Sir, I want to ask something.
Okay. Your name, introduce your
My name is Aulia Francisa Irawan from class B. I'm sorry for my bad English pronunciation, so I'm gonna mix it with Indonesia.
Okay, it does not matter.
So sir, I wanna ask about when the king or the nobleman became Muslim. At the last your video that you sent from the WA group from your YouTube, there was a reason that they became Muslim after they met Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The thing that I want to ask is, benarkah mereka jadi Muslim setelah bertemu dengan Muhammad Rasulullah, or they became Muslim because the trade commerce from other people. Yeah. That's all. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Olia Francisca Irawan. I think it is a nice question and also nice comment. I think it is good idea. There's many factors why the king in Indonesian archipelago, including in Southeast Asian countries, became Muslim. It is right that there's the traditional historical sources that many king in Indonesian archipelago became Muslim after he met with Prophet Muhammad in dreaming. Dalam mimpi, not directly met with Prophet Muhammad, but in dreaming. And in that dreaming, after a dialogue and maybe what is received recommendation, suggestion from Prophet Muhammad, and after he woken up, this king can read fluency the Al-Quran. The king can make the statement of Shahada. So it is the pattern also, one of the pattern how the king in Indonesian archipelago became Muslim. I think this story should be interpreted as the one of the legitimized for the new king as the Islamic king, because by became Muslim and by what is fluency in reading Al-Quran and also can make the statement of Shahada, this king should be legitimized politically by the ordinary people, by his people in his region, in his kingdom. So I think it is what is one of the pattern in the process of Islamization in Indonesia in the early period, particularly what is experienced by many kings in Indonesia. Okay, good question from Aulia for the male representative student.
Thank you for the explanation, sir.
Okay, you're welcome. For the male student representative, any question, any comment, or any silence?
So if no one else is going to do it, then perhaps I will do it. I have
Okay, Jackie.
A question, perhaps, alongside a short comment as well. The explanation that you gave earlier about the factors that had made the Indonesian kings to become Muslim is that it's a beneficial thing to do due to the trade lanes that is coming through the Malaccan Straits. My question is how much influence that the foreign gentry such as the Chinese Muslim merchants, the Gujarati merchants, and the Persian traders that comes to trade in the archipelago, and how much will they how much is their influence in making these changes in society before. That's it. That's my question.
Okay, thank you very much, Jackie. Good question. I think the trader or the business or the economic also it is important what is factor in process of Islamization in Indonesia. But let's imagine that the economic activity between Nusantara archipelago and then South Asia and the Middle East, not only starting from 13th century until now, but before 13th century, the activity of economy between these three regions was there actively, was dynamic. Maybe when we talk about the process of Hinduization or Indonesian, and also how the Buddha religion coming to Indonesia, there's also many theories about that, including also the economic theory or the trading theory. So in this case, the economic activity, the trading activity, particularly from the Islamic trader, from Arab, from India, from China, and others, there's many important in making the new Islamic community, including also the kingdom in Indonesian archipelago. But it is still debatable because some historians said that not only trader that's influenced in the Islamization process in Indonesia, but also what I have written a book, it is the role of Sufi order or Tasawwuf organization or the Guru Sufi or the what Islamic preacher, not as trader, but as the preacher, as the Islamic scholars, in which come from one place to another place to preaching Islam as the new religion. However, Islamic activity also still important, but how Islam as the new religion spreading, not only in the city, but also in the village, in the hinterland, and in other ordinary people in other region. I think it is not only the trading activity, but should be interpreted, should be understand about the Sufi order or mysticism teaching or Tasawwuf organization in not only in Indonesia. I think it is also in Middle East, in South Asia, and Southeast Asia. As we know, after the Baghdad as the capital city of Abbasid dynasty collapsed invaded by the Mongol army, there's the new trend in Islamic teaching. Not Islam as the material culture, but Islam as the spiritual culture. In this context, is development of Sufi order, Tasawwuf organization is very important, especially in propagating and in preaching of Islam as the new religion, including also for the Islamic kingdom in Indonesia. It is also important to note here that many Islamic king in Indonesia has the title what is as the representative of God in the world. Let me see about the title of the Mataram kingdom. Until now, for example, the king of Yogyakarta. His title is Senopati Ing Alogo Sayyidin Panotogomo Halipatullah Ing Tanah Jowo. What does it mean? It is meaning that the king of Mataram not only as the perfect man, the strong man, but also he as the representative of God in the world. In this case, is the Jawa Island. So the title that the king as the representative of God, it is the Sufi order teaching. It is the influence of the Tasawwuf, mysticism in Islam. Because maybe trader activity or economic activity, very rational matters. Because of that, I think not only the role of trading activity in process of Islamization, but also there's many factors, including also the role of Sufi order and Tasawwuf organization. Thank you. However, it is the good question for Jaki Muhammad. Okay, I think I have lecture you in 37 minutes, and I think it is enough. And we switch our virtual lecturing from Zoom to WhatsApp group. I would like to see your brief comment in WhatsApp group related to our lecturing today. Your brief comment is very important to show that you are attending in this lecture or virtual meeting. Thank you very much, and we ending together, closing together this session by citing together Hamdalah. Alhamdulillahirobbilalamin. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Waalaikumsalam.
Okay, you're welcome. Please, you can leave from this virtual meeting, from this Zoom meeting.